Okay, so for all the girls watching, I just want to let you know, if you're in any way in middle school or high school, please, and I mean please, stay away from guys that want to get you pregnant. Because I'm not gonna lie, there's some weirdos out there that would love to get a kid, and I'm telling you one thing, bringing a kid into this generation or world is honestly the last thing I want to do. But today's story is the most insane story ever, and honestly, I gotta say this, it's gonna be a wild one. So, my opinion, sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because seriously, over 67% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, which is absolutely just goofy. So just subscribe, and let's get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's video is I'm pregnant. Now, I'm not actually pregnant. I just want to let you guys know, nor have I ever had a kid. But me having a lot of, well, devil's tango could always lead to having a kid. And for all the people that are like, oh, like, what do you mean, Bubba? Just use like protection. You'll never get a kid. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this now. If you guys didn't know already, at least 13 out of 100 people get pregnant even if they use a literal protection rubber thingy. And I'll say this much, me in high school, I was a pretty bad boy, and I thought I had like 100% pullout game, so I never really actually paid attention to that. And I always kind of just did it raw dog style, if that makes any sense. I remember one time though, there was a girl back in high school that I was seeing a lot of the time, and in a way, me and her were like friends with benefits, but at the same time, like, we really wanted to like maybe conceal the lock and maybe actually become in a relationship. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was never really good at relationships back in high school. I didn't see a point in it, because if you guys didn't see my video where I explained that dating in high school is dumb, well, that's what I thought in high school. I thought I was just dumb. A time in high school is to when you really like figure out what you want to do with your future and basically do the devil's tango with all the people that you will not probably see in your future. At least that's what I thought. But going on, I remember one time I ended up hanging out with this girl that was my friends with benefits, and me and her, we decided to go to her place. And when we were at her place, I remember me and her were just talking about basic stuff and really just talking about what the future could hold for us if we ever did get together. Like, I think most people that are like friends with like an opposite gender would basically have this conversation of like, hey, like, what if we like started dating, and basically lead to like what could happen to the future. And then I remember one thing led to another. Me and her, we started talking about having a kid. Now, as a joke, I remember I always used to say that I want my kid to be named Yoda. And yes, I would love for my kid to be named Yoda, because imagine like if he gets older and he's super cool, then he could be called Broda. Okay, that sounds weird, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I don't know, having a kid at such a young age and thinking about it in high school seems like a really cool future. Like, don't tell me that a lot of you guys haven't thought about growing up and having a kid and having a family and all this parental stuff. I don't know, now that I'm 21 and basically telling stories and making YouTube videos for a living, having a kid would be pretty terrifying. But I remember basically me and this girl, we were talking about it, and honestly, I remember she looked at me and said, honestly, like, do you want to like maybe like actually like have a kid? Wait, what is what I said? I was super confused that she literally just asked me to get her pregnant, and I didn't know what to say. So I decided to tell her like, no, like, I don't think it's a good idea, and that maybe me and her should maybe stop seeing each other. And you guys got to understand, like, when a friends with benefits wants to become more than, well, friends with benefits, it could lead to a lot of dangerous territory. So that's when I usually decide to close it off, because for some reason girls have a faster way of like connecting to others than guys do, I guess. I have no idea. But I remember basically she was like talking to me and stuff, maybe like talk me down and like say like, oh, like, no, it's fine, like, we can keep seeing each other, like, don't be nervous. But me, I decided that this would be the last time I saw her. So her knowing that, I remember she ended up going to the bathroom, and I have no idea what she did, but she was in there for a while. And I remember she came out, and me, as I was going to my backpack to pull out a rubber, she looked at me and said, oh, like, we don't need that, like, don't worry about it. But then I told her, no, like, I'm gonna use a rubber, like, obviously. And if you guys don't know what I mean by a rubber, I mean like a condom. I just want to let you guys know, always use protection if you guys are gonna go do the devil's tango. But then I remember I looked at her and said, okay, I'm just gonna get one, like, come on, like, you gotta understand, I gotta use one. And then she said, oh, like, I have one for you. And then she pulled out one out of her pocket, like she had it there the whole time. I thought maybe she was like mentally preparing for me and stuff like that the whole time, and maybe she just knew that it was gonna happen, so she wanted one to like pull out instantly as we're in the moment. So I remember I decided to put that one on, and me and her, we ended up doing the devil's tango. But as me and her were doing it, I remember after everything was over, I ended up going to the bathroom, and I ended up taking off the condom. When I did, I remember I looked down and I like was pulling like the thing off, and one thing I realized was that there was a hole in it. I remember I was freaking out and like thinking like, what? Like, how did I put a hole in this thing? Like, there's no way. Like, that's it. Like, she's gonna get pregnant. Like, I'm done for. So I remember I came out of the room literally not wearing anything and saying, hey, yo, there's literally like a hole in this. She looked at me and like kind of giggled at first, but then kind of looked at me all serious saying, oh, wait, are you serious? Oh my goodness. Like, there's no way there's actually a hole in it. Oh my goodness. Like, okay, we have to talk this through. So basically me and her had a conversation about what we should do. And I told her instantly, go get plan B. If you guys don't know what plan B is, it's basically a way to like make make sure like a woman doesn't get pregnant, or at least helps out to like make sure a woman doesn't get pregnant. So that's what we did. I remember me and her, we got dressed, we went to my car, we drove to the nearest store, and basically I got her plan B. Afterwards, I remember I went back home, she took the pill, blah, 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 and one thing led to another. The next day ended up happening. I remember I ended up going to school, and the whole entire night I could not sleep, because I won't lie to you, that shock and scare of it getting someone pregnant is terrifying. And also the percentage rate of plan B actually working is 95%. Okay, so like you never know what's gonna happen, dude. Like that 5% of my little swimmers could be like, ooh, egg, we're gonna get an egg. Like you never know, dude. So I'm like freaking out at school, just like walking around the hallway thinking like that's it, my life's over, you know, I'm gonna be in like childcare development, like I'm done. Okay, like I'm done, dude. Like I didn't know what to think. But then I remember as we were walking around, I saw the girl, my friends with benefits, and me and her, we would never really like actually like talk together at school, because we didn't want people like putting a connection together that me and her were like talking or anything, because you know, obviously we were only friends with benefits. That would mean like if we really wanted to move on and date someone else, we could. But then I remember she decided to run up to me as she saw me at school in the hallway, and she ran up to me saying, Baba, like I need to talk to you like now. Okay, is what I said. And then I remember me and her, we ended up going to another room, which was our science classroom that no one was in at the time, because science, you know, wasn't on yet. And basically I remember she looked at me and she held her stomach saying, Baba, I'm pregnant. Wait, what is what I said? I was like, are you kidding me? Out of the 5% you got pregnant? Like I remember I was freaking out and I was just panicking back to back to back. I didn't know what to think. So I remember literally that day right after school, I remember me and her, we got into a car and we went to a clinic and we talked about it through and stuff. And literally, apparently I have like no say in what happens to that kid. This is what the doctor told me. So she kept telling me over and over, oh, like it's not your choice, it's the mother's choice. But like it's my little swimmers is what I told her, but she didn't care. She didn't care at all what I have to say. So I remember as that was going on, I remember I looked at her and said, okay, listen, I understand it's her choice and her body. I understand. But at the same time, you gotta understand, I'm too young for this. I basically gave her like the speech of, hey, I'm a high schooler, understand that. And she kept telling me how like it's very common for high schoolers to have this issue and stuff. And honestly, to this day, it freaked me out. But then I remember she ended up making the choice that she didn't want to have a kid. And you guys know what happens the rest. I'm not gonna say, because obviously there's a lot of people with different opinions when it comes to the word abortion. But at the same time, life heads in many directions, and some people don't get to have and enjoy the life that we want. I don't know. There's no reason, but at the end of the day, it was one of the biggest scares of my life. And to this day, all I'm gonna tell you guys watching this video is always be careful, because you never know what's gonna happen. There was more to the story, but honestly, that's a story for another time, because obviously, you know, telling our parents what ended up happening was not easy, but that's a story for another day. Anyways, guys, follow for more embarrassing but crazy stories. Peace out, guys.